Hi everyone, it's Shayla, and today I'm going to be sharing about 5 ways that you can overcome your acne insecurities. If you're new here, then hello, welcome. My name is Shayla and I share videos about makeup, skincare, and a lot of acne related topics. So if that's interesting to you, then consider subscribing by hitting that red subscribe button down below. Without further ado, let's just get right into the video. The first way that I have learned to overcome my acne insecurities is to stop comparing yourself to others. There's a saying that comparison is the thief of joy. And that is so true because comparison will rob yourself of happiness. If you're constantly comparing yourself above or below people, then you're never going to be content with who you are just as you. So I want you to take a moment to think about how often you compare yourself to people. Maybe it's passive or maybe it's more active. Maybe it's passive where you're sifting through feeds and social media and you're looking at how certain people look and you're comparing yourself to how they look. Maybe it's just passively running through your head. Maybe it's active where you really are looking at a person in your life that you envy and you just really want to be like this person. And so there are things that you have done to try to be more like this person. When we constantly compare ourselves to people, we can't feel content with just who we are. Whether that's comparing yourself above or below, you shouldn't use other people as a metric for how great of a person you already are. What I encourage you to do instead is to reshape your perspective of this. Rather than using other people to measure how beautiful you are, how whatever fill in the blank you are, think about your qualities independently on their own and appreciate and value yourself more. You're going to find so much more satisfaction when you don't feel the need to compare yourself to other people. The second way that you can overcome your insecurities is to stop believing in lies. What are some lies that you are believing about your skin? Do you feel like you'll never be able to find love because of your skin? Do you feel like people will isolate you because of how you look? The list can go on and on, but what specifically are the lies that you are believing? What are some lies that your skin has made you believe because of the ways, because of the situations that you've been in? My tip for you is to stop watering these lies, because lies are like weeds and seeds that grow in your brain, and they start off small, right? But then they start to get bigger and bigger, and then we start to water them almost, where we feed the lies and we make them grow bigger. And before you know it, the weeds are taking over the space in our brain for any good things to grow. So there are 2 kind of practical ways that you can get rid of these lies or weeds that you're believing in. The first way is to not water them anymore. So that means not feeding any more energy into them. When you stop watering a plant, it will wilt. It will stop growing. And so if you stop feeding a lie, it will eventually wilt and die. It will take time. So you have to be consistent, right? Confidence takes work, and I think a lot of people want to skip that work and just get to that point where they can be happy and confident and just like other people that they see around them that can just comfortably not worry about their acne. But it takes work. So the next time you find yourself believing in a lie, tell yourself in your brain, no, I am choosing not to believe in this. And then you're instantly just not giving energy to that lie anymore. And continue to practice this. And you'll find that these lies seemed greater in your brain than they really were, because they actually aren't that scary anymore. They're not that big and scary or believable anymore. If this video has been helpful for you so far, then I'd really appreciate if you let me know by hitting that like button. I know for myself, metaphors really help me to understand my emotions and my thought process of what I'm thinking and going through. Another great way to visualize this is the monster in your brain. The insecurities, those monsters in your brain, they will continue to grow and get bigger if you feed them. But if you stop feeding these monsters, they're going to starve, they're going to die, and they're no longer gonna be there. So even the biggest, greatest monster can be defeated by simply just not feeding them. The third way that you can overcome your insecurities that's helped me is to reflect, not ruminate. Do you know what the difference is between reflecting and ruminating? Let me kind of go into more detail about what I'm trying to say here. Reflection is a process where you are purposefully trying to understand and learn from things that have happened in your life. This can look like looking back on previous events and learning from them. It can also be thinking about ways that you can improve and do things better. It's also a lot of asking yourself the deep questions to understand your motives and purposes. But the main thing to remember about reflection is its intention is to learn and grow. Rumination is different. Rumination can encompass a lot of things that reflection has, but its intention is not the same. Rumination is more of deep, negative, cyclical thinking that leads you to feel anxious and distressed and just overall not satisfied or happy. Rather than thinking back in the past and trying to grow and learn from it, ruminating looks like overthinking about specific times that have happened in the past, thinking about specific events, and overthinking about these situations without gaining any insight from it. It can also look like sitting in sadness without having any intention to change or transform. Rumination can also be feeling stuck and not having healthy coping mechanisms. I think ruminating sort of feels more like a snowball, where when you continue to overthink and not want to grow or change or become better or learn from these things, it starts to become a big, huge snowball of just negative thinking. Basically, if you have this snowball and you're rolling it and you're kind of feeding it energy and like you're making it bigger and bigger by overthinking, you're using all your energy to roll this big, huge snowball into a big ball. Why? Like, why do we do this to ourselves, right? Why am I feeding so much energy into this thing that's not helping me? And then we just continue to build more and more negative snowmen, I guess. Like, we'll have like a base and then we'll add more on top, and pretty soon we have a whole army full of mean snowmen that are just like a lot of negative cyclical thinking in our heads. I think it's really scary to think about this snowman army of anxiety, because what are we gonna do to combat ourselves from this huge army that we have made, that we have constructed? There is hope, because it's time to let those things melt. It's time to not give those things energy. Let the sun and the positive energy melt all of those bad negative thoughts. If you find yourself overthinking and ruminating and just getting in this cyclic thought of like, oh, I just hate my skin, I wish my skin was better, and I'm just so unhappy with my skin, instead of rolling this snowball of worry and feeling worthless, take a step back and breathe. Allow yourself to feel upset. I think a lot of times we don't want to feel those negative emotions, but those emotions are healthy because they tell us what we want. They can communicate to us what is important to us. It's very important to me that I feel valued and appreciated and worthy and welcomed. And if I feel angry and upset that I'm not, then that's completely normal. It is totally okay to feel your emotions, because your emotions are telling you what's important to you. These emotions are a great way to motivate you and drive you towards a better future. And so if you're feeling angry or frustrated or sad and not content, that's actually a blessing in disguise, because that means that you desire to be better. You desire for change and you want to become a more confident person, or whatever that may be. Now that we have talked about uprooting these weeds and not giving energy to these snowballs of cyclical negative thinking, Now we can focus on our strengths. And you can do this while you're doing the other things too, of course. Instead of feeding energy and time into these negative things, use that energy to invest in your strengths. So some practical ways, I love sharing practical ways. Practical ways you can do this is to make a list of your strengths so that you know what they are. Figure out what excites you, what are your skills and your interests, your hobbies. For myself, I enjoy playing the ukulele. I love sharing videos and blogs, and I just love being behind the camera. If you're just really not sure about what your strengths and your gifts are, then ask the people around you, what are your best characteristics? And that will give you a place to start. Maybe it just takes some more getting to know yourself, getting to learn more about yourself. And that takes time. It takes time to really figure out who you are as a person and like what you value. The fifth way that you can overcome your acne insecurities is to practice confidence and be hopeful. A lot of people see confidence and they just desire it and they want it. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing to want those things and desire it, but we need to put in the work to get those things, and that's the part where people don't really want to be part of. Confidence, skill, talent, intelligence, all of these things take work. People aren't just born smart. There are definitely some things that we are naturally born with, like some people just have a natural talent for whatever, or some people just are really good at picking up certain subjects. But it takes diligence to become great. It takes a lot of work and energy to get to the point where they are, wherever you're looking at them. And you might not see behind the scenes how many years of work they've put into doing a certain thing or developing a certain skill. I think that's the same with confidence. I was not born confident, or I guess like with my acne insecurities, I wasn't confident day one. And even over the years, I didn't become confident in my skin until only recently. The time where I actually started feeling confident with my skin and not feeling like I needed to wear makeup at all was probably 2 years after I graduated college. That's crazy to think that I was not confident for such a long time. But the same goes for you. You don't need to feel confident right away. It's okay if you don't, because it takes time, it takes work, and it takes energy. And this means that we need to practice confidence daily, and we need to be hopeful and continue. All right, before I lose you, before you think, oh, it's just so much work and it's just so hard, there are very easy, simple ways that you can practice confidence. You look in the mirror, smile, and tell yourself that you are beautiful. When you feel the urge to speak up in a group, voice yourself. When you want something different, vocalize and communicate that with people. If you are ever feeling strong emotions, then name them. And with time, if you continue to practice confidence in small ways, then it gets easier to practice confidence in bigger ways. So basically, those are 5 ways that I have learned to overcome my acne insecurities, and I really hope that that's helpful for you all. I'd really appreciate if you hit that like button to let me know, because that just really helps me to understand that this video was good and you want to see more content like this. I really hope that you can learn to love yourself more and to feel confident in your skin. As always, stay beautiful and God bless.